Bruno Mars, extremely popular singer. He's expected in Las Vegas today in court to make a plea agreement for a drug charge, guilty of possession of a controlled substance.
I don't live my life with regrets, and I don't dwell on anything.
Bruno Mars may be losing a lot of money at MGM.
How much did he gamble? How much debt does the man have?
It also is not a good look for MGM to have one of their prize performers allegedly in debt to them.
Bruno Mars has been scrambling to make up the money that he owes Vegas casinos. These resorts have got him stuck in a loop where he gets drunk, he gambles a bunch, and then he owes the casino a lot of cash, which in turn they force him to perform every night until the bills are paid off. But from the looks of it, it doesn't seem like Bruno Mars's debt is going to be paid off anytime soon. So let's get into it. Now, Bruno Mars and MGM have tried to shut down these rumors that he owes $50 million in gambling debt. And while I must admit I like Bruno Mars and his music, there has been a pattern here, and I believe there's definitely some truth to that, even though the resort is trying to have his back. Bruno Mars has had a long history with issues with drugs, crime, and now gambling. And in this video, I wanted to go through a timeline of some of his worst moments and how we ultimately got here, because even though he's had personal struggles, he's done so well in his career that everyone around him in his inner circle, they turn a blind eye and they end up becoming enablers. Now, Vegas has been a tough place for Bruno Mars for years now, over a decade, because in 2010 he was arrested for having some drugs. After performing at the Hard Rock Hotel Casino in Las Vegas, he was arrested early Sunday morning on suspicion of cocaine. It turns out that hotel security actually discovered Bruno Mars with the drugs and they detained him. And it seems like these security guards did not care who he was. I mean, at that point, he probably wasn't as big of a name yet. So they held him back and he spent a few hours in jail. So not too bad. At the time, he's 24 years old, and it seems like the guards suspected something was up because he spent a long time in the bathroom. So the bathroom attendant actually asked for security to go and check on him. The report claims that Bruno Mars asked the officer, "Can I speak to you honestly, sir?" And then he reportedly admitted that he had done a foolish thing and claimed that he had never used drugs before in the past. Now, he ultimately accepted a plea deal, so he had to pay a fine and go under probation because of these charges. Bruno had an eventful 6 months despite having 2 hit singles, Grenade and Just the Way You Are. He found himself dodging a drug charge, or at least avoiding jail time. And it looks like he had to pay $2,000, which isn't too much, especially compared to Bruno Mars. But I don't know. I mean, if he's in a lot of debt, then I guess $2,000 is a lot compared to 50 million. But he also had to perform 200 hours of community service. I wonder what kind of community service did he do? Did he sing to the public? It would be kind of cute if he was singing at old folks homes, which shout out to all the old folks homes, but if that was his community service, he had to go and sing to all of them.
Bruno Mars, extremely popular singer. I'm a fan of his. This is why this story I think is so interesting. He's expected in Las Vegas today in court to make a plea agreement for a drug charge that he had earlier in the year. He's expected to plead guilty to possession of a controlled substance, that substance being cocaine. In exchange, his record is going to be expunged if he stays out of trouble for 1 year. He also has to do community service and a drug program, the sorts of things you usually see happen in this case. But really, I just hope he does this right. I mean, people make mistakes. I'm fine with that. I'm not judging him for making a mistake, but he's so talented. You hate to think that this is the first step in a series of stories that lead.
This is video from him in court today, so
we'll see what happens there.
Now, because Bruno Mars's album went to #1, the record label did not want to have their star artists with these drug charges. So they pulled out the big guns, and it turns out they had a lawyer able to dismiss these charges that were held against Bruno. His lawyer said that Bruno had done extra community service and that his guilty plea would be taken off of his record, which is pretty convenient timing because he was up for 6 Grammy Awards, including Best Song and Best Album. You know what's worse than getting injured? Fighting with the insurance company afterwards. They will often stall, delay, and lowball you because their goal is to pay you as as little as possible because they are not on your side. That's where Morgan & Morgan comes in. They are the largest injury law firm in America with over 1,000 attorneys and millions of clients served. They've secured billions of dollars for settlements and verdicts, including a $26 million payout in Philadelphia, 40 times more than what the insurance company originally offered. And the best part about Morgan & Morgan is that they don't charge anything up front. There is no consulting fee, there's no hourly rate, there's no hidden cost by going and getting them to help you out. So if you've been hurt in an accident,
Morgan & Morgan has your back if you become their client.
you can go to forthepeople.com/Sloan or scan the QR code on the screen to start your claim now. You probably could get it submitted before this video is even over with, and it's not going to hurt to go and figure out how much you are owed. Thank you, Morgan & Morgan, for sponsoring this video, and enjoy. Even though Bruno got off easy, there was a heated moment in the courtroom.
Resolution is? Following, Your Honor. In district court, Mr. Hernandez is going to plead guilty to possession of controlled
Also, did you know that Bruno Mars' real name is Peter Hernandez?
substance. The adjudication is going to be stayed. There won't be an entry of a judgment. Mr. Hernandez is to be placed on informal probation for 1 year, during which time Mr. Hernandez will get a $2,000 fine, do 200 hours of community service, attend drug counseling, and stay out of trouble. If he successfully completes the informal probation and he complies with all the other terms, at that point in time, Mr. Hernandez will be permitted to withdraw his plea to the felony. Case will be dismissed. That's the plea.
Additionally, if he is not successful on probation, Judge, he will be adjudicated on the felony and sentenced appropriately.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, sir, did you understand the negotiations as set forth by your attorney and agreed to by the state?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir, do you agree with those negotiations?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand by entering these negotiations, sir, you're forever waiving your right to have a preliminary hearing here today. You understand?
It's such a dramatic scene with all the photographers there. I'm sure the judge either loves it or hates it. What do you think in the comments below? Kind of sounds like he hates it.
And after discussing this matter with your attorney, you still feel it's in your best interest to unconditionally waive your rights in the preliminary hearing here today?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, a couple years after this incident, it seems like Bruno Mars was able to brush it off because he spoke about it in an interview with GQ. Bruno Mars is coming clean in the April issue of GQ magazine. The 27-year-old singer opens up about his 2010 arrest, his unusually chipper mugshot, and the difficulties of writing a hit song. He was found with 2.6 grams of cocaine, which I'm not familiar with, like how... I feel like that's a lot, because I feel like isn't everything like, I don't know, isn't like, I don't know, 2.6 grams? Like, is that even like a baggie? Or is that like more than that? How much did he have on him? But also, I think like because it's a powder, it's not that much. I really don't know. He said he doesn't know why he told the police it was his first time using drugs. He says, I don't know where that came from. I was really intoxicated. I was really drunk. So a lot of that is a big blur, and I try every day to forget and keep pushing. Bruno was also asked about the mugshot and why he was grinning so much during his arrest. And I don't know if that was Bruno just acting like cocky and drunk, or if maybe he's like, you know, for me, I'm like a nervous laugher. Like I will go and laugh and smile when I get scared. So maybe he was a little bit fearful in that moment, or maybe he thought that he was untouchable.
And you had an incident yourself last year, which I know you don't want to talk about at length, but I want to ask you just really what you learned from that. You were found with cocaine in Las Vegas and so on. And for you at the time, I mean, potentially a big problem for you, but I think you dealt with it in a very mature way. What's your feeling about it, looking back on it now?
I don't live my life with regrets, and I don't dwell on anything. I feel like it happened. It must have happened for a reason. I hope that I'm not here today because of what happened then. I hope I'm here today because of my achievements and because of my music. I want to be known and hopefully respected because of that. And I think it's something that I moved past, and I'm hoping everyone else I come across will move past it too.
Well, Mum's always had a say when things like that happen. What did your mother say to you?
You know, she gave me the mom lecture, but like I said before, I'm blessed with such a supportive family, and that not too many people are blessed with, and I'm just happy that they love me for me. And
did it scare you, that
Sure.
episode? Did you think, whoa, okay?
Yeah, sure. But
I mean, anyone being arrested, I'm sure you'd be scared.
like I said, it's behind. It's behind, and the only way for me to move forward is to move forward.
Even though Bruno wants to move forward so badly, the reports just keep on coming. And he's feeding into it. I mean, in November 2016, he admitted that he did something very stupid on his CBS 60 Minutes. He's like, I'm in Las Vegas, Laura. I'm 24 years old. You know, I'm drinking way more than I'm supposed to. That was the reality check I needed. Bruno's run-in with the law just came after he was reestablishing himself as an artist after being dropped by Motown Records less than a year after he signed with them in 2004. The singer previously spoke about the toll it took on him, admitting that he may have shed some tears, but looking back, he understands the company's decision. He said, I don't blame Motown. I wasn't ready yet. I think everybody didn't know what color I am. It's like, he's not black enough, but he's not white enough. He's got a Latin name, but he doesn't have, well, he doesn't speak Spanish, so who are we selling this to? Now, we all know that the police in Las Vegas, they have to deal with a lot because Vegas is a crazy place. But in a turn of events, the prosecutor who went after Bruno Mars actually ended up getting 9 months on drug charges himself. This is crazy. A former Las Vegas prosecutor who handled high-profile drug cases against Paris Hilton and Bruno Mars will experience another side of the justice system after being ordered to spend 9 months in jail on felony crack possession charges. Now, the guy's name is David. He was arrested in March after police found $40 worth of crack cocaine and an unregistered handgun in his car. David apologized to the court for what he called was a tragedy and then stood in silence while the judge gave him his sentence. And it looks like he had to pay even more than Bruno Mars had to pay. He had to pay $5,000. And I'm assuming he probably won't be like in law enforcement again after this.
Schubert is no stranger to the courtroom, but on the other side of things, he led prosecution in some of the highest profile drug cases in Clark County, including Paris Hilton and Bruno Mars. Schubert lost his job as a prosecutor following his drug arrest last March and accepted a plea deal in the fall that would get him probation, something that angered the Clark County court system. Another judge took himself off the case in December, saying he didn't agree with it, and Judge Ellsworth called the deal offensive before handing down Schubert's jail sentence. The judge said as an attorney, Schubert took an oath to God to uphold the law, and he didn't do it. She called him a disgrace.
Now that brings us to some of these gambling rumors. The 12-time Grammy Award winner previously declared himself a professional poker player, but it's alleged that he's working his debt off, literally performing nightly for free because he has such a debt to the casino. They stated part of the reason why Bruno Mars's residency has lasted for so long is because he's accrued a sizable gambling debt at the casino. He owes millions to MGM from gambling, and an unnamed source told News Nation that MGM basically owns him, which I've actually heard stories of like Tana Mojo running into Bruno Mars like while gambling, and he's always at the high stakes table, so he's betting a lot that he doesn't have. Bruno racked up over $50 million in gambling debt at MGM. MGM basically owns him. He makes $90 million off a year from the deal he did with the casino, but he has to pay back the debt, so he will make about $1.5 million per night after taxes, which is still like a lot of money. Can you imagine? Bruno has become a staple in Las Vegas's entertainment thanks to his residencies, but based on a News Nation's report, the Grammy Award winner's forthcoming series of shows at the Park MGM isn't about fan demand, but more about making good on his balance. And he's definitely charging those fans a lot of money for these tickets because he's got to make good.
Okay, I look crazy, but I'm flying to Vegas later tonight. And I was like, oh, you know who's in Vegas? Bruno Mars, because he's stuck there trying to pay off his gambling debt, okay? So I was like, let me go look and see how much the tickets are. They can't be that expensive. And maybe it's because it's the week-ish before Christmas. But tell me why $487 for, like, the back for Bruno Mars. And he performs every night. Every night. Concerts have gotten insane. Who is paying that? Granted, it's a smaller venue. But what? Every night? How much did he gamble? How much debt does the man have?
Although Bruno and none of his representatives had commented on the allegation at the time, he'd been candid about his love for casinos. In 2016, him and James Corden jammed out during carpool karaoke, and he was joking about his gambling kick.
Is it true that you would pay your rent by playing cards?
For a little while, yeah.
Give me your best poker face. Give me the face that says...
I got it.
No, you haven't got it, but give me the face that says you have got it. So, right, so there's the cards. I've got my cards. I'm going to give you my face that says I've got it, even though I know there's nothing in here. Ready?
Is anyone else happy that James Corden is like... Does anyone miss him, actually? That's a better question. Does anyone miss James Corden? Comment below.
Oscar worthy.
Yeah, now let's see
I
yours.
call.
Okay,
I just call.
you
Whatever
Alright.
that is.
Now let me see yours. Let me see yours. Let me see. So you pick up the cards, and they are terrible. But you want me to think you're holding.
Now, with these gambling allegations, Bruno Mars' 2013 story with GQ has resurfaced. In the interview, he reflected on his love for gambling starting back when he was 19 years old, saying, "I used to be a loudmouth. You know, the guy people would want to take his money. If you don't get them to lose, they're out for you, they're gunning for you. And that's when they're weak, and that's when you jump or pounce on them." Bruno went into detail on his first major loss of $100, saying, "I remember my first bet, my hand was shaking, and a guy called me out on it and embarrassed me. You gotta lose. You've gotta lose to win to understand." Bruno signed a long-term contract with MGM in 2016, and it looks like he performs at various venues around Las Vegas. Silk Sonic, consisting of Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, started their Las Vegas residency at the Dolby Live in February 2022. It was called An Evening with Silk Sonic. The insider alluded to the pair feuding over money, but no reports have emerged concerning it. The Pinky Ring by Bruno Mars is a new cocktail lounge in the Bellagio Hotel and Casino launched by Bruno. Now, there was a story I found on TikTok about Bruno Mars losing about $17 million while gambling, which sounds like just mind-blowing. Could you imagine losing that amount? I can't even imagine having that amount.
And this is the Pinky Ring Lounge in Las Vegas at the Bellagio. And even though this has been an open secret in Las Vegas for a couple of years now, News Nation just decided to publish that Bruno Mars may be losing a lot of money at MGM. His debts have gotten as high as $50 million, according to sources. MGM basically owns him, a Vegas insider said. Now, I had a high roller tell me that he spent an afternoon at the high limit pit with Bruno and watched him lose $17 million, but I could never say anything about that, nor do I know that to be a fact.
Now, one fan said, "Bruno Mars having $50 million in gambling debt lets me know that his next album is going to be a classic." Another person rates Bruno Mars in debt with the MGM casino for $50 million. My God, gambling addiction does not play, but also sounds like it's time for his Vegas residency to end. Another fan of the Silk Sonic member stated, "I worry critical thinking is dead because y'all really think a casino is going to let a single individual run up to $50 million in debt?"
Bruno, I came all the way to Vegas to help you with your gambling debt. Let's go.
Hey guys, so everybody's been wondering what we're gonna do with the dollar for Bruno Mars. Actually, I've got an envelope here addressed to Bruno Mars from MGM Grand. We're gonna put this in the envelope and try to get it over to him. So stay tuned, we'll see what we can do with this, alright?
Now, the dollars aren't going to help Bruno Mars, but as the talking continued, MGM had to put out a statement. Now, they are protecting their artists, their talent, and they say that he does not owe them $50 million in debt. MGM said, "We're proud of our relationship with Bruno Mars, one of the world's most thrilling and dynamic performers. From his shows at the Dolby Live at the Park MGM to the new Pinky Lounge at the Bellagio." See, they're just trying to promote different lounges and venues. Bruno's brand of entertainment attracts visitors from around the globe. Well, it doesn't mean that you don't have him racking up debt still. MGM and Bruno's partnership is long-standing and rooted in mutual respect. Any speculation otherwise is completely false. He has no debt with MGM. Together, we are excited to continuing creating unforgettable experiences for our guests. I feel like if they do flat out say he has no debt with MGM, then what if he has debt with like another company and they're just trying to clear the MGM brand from Bruno? Now, they also claim that Bruno made $90 million a year from his residencies at MGM.
Well, that's good news for everyone, including Bruno Mars, who makes approximately $1.something million a night as a part of working in Las Vegas for MGM, which totals to about $90 million a year. But if I play devil's advocate here, first of all, the $50 million number is very weird and very specific. However, it also is not a good look for MGM to have one of their prize performers allegedly in debt to them. It's not a good look on either side, especially when they're still in partnership with each other.
When it comes to casino debt like that, it's really like, it's not like there's necessarily like a service or goods that were provided. So I wonder if the resort could just clear his debt from him, because that TikToker's right. It would be such a bad look if like their talent was like enslaved to them because they're in so much debt. This comment reads, "He doesn't owe MGM $50 million. He's just going to get paid $40 million this year instead of $90. Another person writes it's $48.6 million in debt. This comment reads, "So from an accounting perspective, they could be subtracting his losses straight from his contract fees, which would eliminate owing anything as the public understands owing." Another person adds, "He has no debt at MGM as long as he continues to perform him every night. And then finally, this comment reads, he has a show in Vegas playing consistently because he's in debt with the casinos. The dude is broke. Now, Bruno did recently joke about his gambling debt following Spotify records. Bruno hit the jackpot to break a Spotify listener record earlier this week, and he took to his Instagram story to celebrate the win and even joked about taking a chunk out of his alleged debt. He said, "I'll be out of debt in no time," on his story. He even mocked the gambling debt reports on stage during a performance last year, saying, "Ever since those articles came out about me owing the casino money, you stopped picking up my calls. It's me, baby. I got money."
And ever since those articles came out about me owing the casino money, you stopped picking up my calls. It's me, baby. I got money. I just put a song out last week. I'm popping on TikTok right now. It's still very classy, very mindful, very demure.
You know what? At least Bruno Mars is letting himself have fun with the narrative, but I believe that it's true. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like it's got to be true. And they probably just subtract it from his payout. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Do you love Bruno Mars's music? Because I'm actually a huge fan of his. I grew up listening to him. So I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye, guys.